Fawaka. Welcome to another UCL Roundup. The quarterfinals have all been played, and there were some amazing games even in the second leg, with some excitement in some games, very close goals here and there. So let's start with the first game. Dortmund at home against Barcelona. Barca won the first leg 4-0, so Dortmund had to go all out to try and make a comeback somehow. They did start off really well. Girassi scoring a penalty, and Girassi was definitely the best Dortmund guy on the night with a hat trick. But unfortunately for Dortmund, three goals weren't enough. Barca even added a goal of their own, but not scored by themselves. It was Dortmund's own goal. So the game ends 3-1. Barcelona did make it tougher for themselves by playing in a lower gear, but at least it made it exciting for everybody who was watching the game. Then we have the other game of the Tuesday. We have Aston Villa against Paris Saint-Germain. Aston Villa definitely came close in this one. They lost first game to Paris, and they really fought back this time. So after that 3-1 loss in Paris, they did beat Paris Saint-Germain 3-2, but that wasn't enough. 5-4 in aggregate. And if you've seen the game or at least seen the highlights, after some substitutions by Unai Emery, they kind of lost their momentum and they let Paris Saint-Germain off. He really made a mistake on that one. Rashford was really playing well. He subbed him off after Villa lost their momentum, and after that they couldn't score anymore. They did come close at the end with Ian Matson hitting an amazing volley, but the defense was alert and one of them blocked it off the line. So yeah, after Villa, tough break. Now the only thing they have is fighting for Champions League spots for next season in the Premier League. Paris Saint-Germain advanced to the semi-finals on their way to winning their first Champions League title. Then on Wednesday, we have Inter versus Bayern München. Inter beat München in Munich 2-1. The great striker duo did all the great work there. And Bayern had to go to the Tepe Meazza and try to beat Inter. The game ended 2-2 with goals from Martinez and Pavard. And from the Bayern side, it were Kane and Dyer who scored the goals. So yeah, not too good for Bayern. And this was also Thomas Muller's last Champions League game for Bayern, we presume, because in the summer he most likely will leave the club as a free agent. We don't know what club he's going to yet, because I saw an interview after the match where he says, yeah, after the season I'm gonna decide. So we'll see where Thomas Muller will pop up next after this. Inter go through to the semifinals against Barcelona. Very opposite teams, with Inter being the more defensive, counter-attacking team, and Barca always on the front foot, free-flowing football with those amazing wingers and Lewandowski as a striker. I really can't predict this one because I feel like Inter might be a little bit too tough for Barcelona, just like in the Mourinho days. But we will see. It will be two amazing games, I think. And yeah, let's see who goes to the final out of those two teams. Then the last game of the quarterfinals. It's my favorite club, Arsenal. playing Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. The last time we went to the Bernabeu, Thierry Henry scored an amazing goal, gliding past all the Galacticos and slaughtered it home. And it was just an amazing goal, man. That moment, I just went crazy back then. This time, we go there, having won 3-0 at the Emirates. And yeah, Real Madrid, they definitely tried. You had Vini and Mbappe trying in the beginning. And then Arsenal get a penalty. Saka steps up. I'm thinking, oh man, I don't know. I think Courtois is gonna save this one, but I didn't expect Saka to try a Panenka. He failed miserably. Courtois saves it, and at that moment, I'm thinking, nah, this is not going to be that Madrid magic in the Champions League where they come back against Arsenal after Arsenal messed up a penalty. Luckily for me, after that, Real Madrid did get a penalty that was eventually overturned by the ref. Then in the second half, Arsenal just contained Real Madrid. They couldn't really create any big chances. They were crossing into the box with Mbappe not really going for the headers. You had Kivio and Saliba just doing a solid job. The backs, Timber and Lewis Kelly were amazing. And a long ball to Saka, a calculated attack by Arsenal. Eventually, Marino gets the ball, slides it into Saka, he chips Courtois, and it's 1-0 at the Bernabeu for Arsenal. And man, in my head, I was going crazy. But while everybody was celebrating and going crazy, the game kicked off. All us fans were still enjoying that moment of Saka scoring. And before we knew it, Raya gave the ball to Saliba. Saliba was sleeping, dwelling on the ball. Finney comes in, picks up the ball from him, and he scores, and it's 1-1. And yeah, I was like, nah, man, come on. We do all this great work, and then you let Real score a goal like this. It's just so stupid. But we held on. Real became more desperate than desperate. They tried all the dark arts, all the techniques they normally use to unsettle teams. Unfortunately, Partey did succumb to it, and he has a yellow card now. He is missing the first leg of the semifinals, which is very unfortunate because our squad depth isn't really that great at the moment. But yeah, in the 93rd minute, Real Madrid throwing everything forward. Marino picks up the ball. He sees Martinelli making a run. Even in the 93rd minute, after all that work, Martinelli puts on the afterburners from Garcia, who came in later in the game. Couldn't keep up with him. And Martinelli makes it 2-1 with a great finish. He makes it 2-1. I was shouting, I was screaming, even though it was 11 p.m. But I couldn't contain all my nerves from both games anymore, so I shouted it out. It was just so amazing. We played Real Madrid in the Champions League 4 times now, and we beat them 3 times, and we drew one. Two of those wins are at the Bernabeu, old one and the new one. Yeah, Arsenal go through to the semifinals against PSG. It's going to be a really difficult game, even though we beat them 2-0 earlier this season. That was without Kvaratskhelia and Ousmane Dembele. So Lewis Kelly and Yuri Timber will have to be on the A game to keep them from scoring. I really hope Arsenal make me proud against Paris Saint-Germain and progress to the finals. But for now, I'm really happy with what they did against Real Madrid. Amazing performance from all the players. Odegaard was a little bit suspect. He could have done way better against Real Madrid and proved them wrong for selling him. But yeah, even with him not being that great, we did beat them twice. Amazing feeling. Also on Wednesday, there was a Premier League game with Newcastle having their game that was postponed because of the Carabao Cup. They had their game against Crystal Palace. They beat them 5-0. Very convincing win from Newcastle, who are in great form right now. And that sees them go all the way up to third now, with them 4 points behind Arsenal, which means that they are even in the running to become second this season. But yeah, the Champions League places are very interesting in the Premier League, with Newcastle now in third, Nottingham Forest in fourth, Man City fifth, Chelsea sixth, Aston Villa seventh, with Chelsea and Villa having the same amount of points. Gonna be heating up during the end of this season. We will see who will get into that top five, because top five now qualifies you for the Champions League, because Arsenal, by beating Real Madrid, England has enough points now for them to have 5 places in the Champions League. This was another Champions League roundup. See you guys in the semi-finals. Peace.
And that ball goes out of bounds, and